Hey you, I'm Anissa. Welcome to Create to Liberate. Today's episode is about cultivating your inner beauty beyond the physical appearance. I live in Los Angeles, California, and I just got back from traveling in Greece, and there's a noticeable difference between the level of beauty here and the level of beauty there. And so I want to call out things that I noticed when spending time with my friends who are over there, and then also just culturally things that we can get over societally, especially that's rising here in Los Angeles particularly, so that you can feel your inner radiance, your confidence, your beauty, and that be the driving force in this world versus polishing, surface level cleaning up. As always, I share wisdom from my own lived experience, as I believe we're all each other's mirrors. We provide a mirror to each other to be able to see ourselves more clearly and ideally empower each other. If you enjoy what I say, hit the like button, subscribe to this channel. If you're listening on audio, give a 5-star review. If something I share does not resonate with you, amazing. Take what you need and leave the rest. Without further ado, let's get into it. So I just got back from 10 days in Greece, and I was visiting one of my best friends, and I was also just enjoying being at the beach and enjoying the culture of Greece. And one night I had a dinner with my friends and I was very struck by the level of confidence of these women. I'd spent time with two of the friends before, and they're just such vivacious characters. And I was thinking just more broadly around Greece and the culture of women who are very empowered, very empowered. And I think the influence comes from the goddesses, but I won't focus on the energetic world and this way the spiritual, non-physical entities are supporting women in their radiance over there, but more on cultural differences and ways that we can focus on our beauty that doesn't get acknowledged enough, especially in Los Angeles. So the more that we engage with societal standards of beauty, which are not realistic expectations, usually they're working to point all of our focus towards conformity over some beauty standard that continually will shift over time. So when I was growing up, I remember the beauty standard being like very thin eyebrows and being blonde and blue-eyed, and then it started to shift towards being a brunette with fuller lips and fuller eyebrows, and things like that have moved towards features that I actually naturally have, and that's helpful. But it's all stupid, and all of it starts to feed at our sense of our own beauty. And if we start focusing too much on our outer beauty, it starts to dim our inner light, and our inner light is the true beauty that really needs to radiate out for somebody to actually feel like a beautiful person, to feel magnetic, to feel very powerful. And when I was back in Greece, surrounded by a group of my friends, I was just so enamored by the level of beauty and confidence of this woman. And some of it came from socioeconomics. I think there's a level to which when you're not in survival mode, you're actually able to be in a more radiant version of self. You're able to be in your living self, your thriving self. So sometimes we move from survival mode to living to thriving. And if you haven't broken out of that survival mode for yourself, it's game changing. Maybe you experience little moments of it when you're on vacation, etc. That is just such a powerful state of being, to be a one who feels they have free will, who feels like they are moving through the world from a place of choice, who feels a level of empowerment. But when you're in that survival mode, you're very heads down, you're a cog in the wheel, you don't necessarily have that natural radiance. You don't have that sense of empowerment. You feel a victim often to your life and circumstances, and that also comes through in the way that you operate. So I would say that these women also, I'll kind of go through some of the qualities I noticed of women in Greece in general that made them so incredibly beautiful and radiant and confident. And then I'll talk about the larger societal level. But I was dropped in conversation with one of her friends, and this friend is deeply beautiful, and one of the qualities that makes them so beautiful, and one of the qualities that I think is number one in inner beauty, is presence. Those who are the most beautiful people that I've ever met of presence, they're able to be with you. They're able to hold space. They're able to look into your eyes. They're able to engage with you in deep conversation. They're able to listen without a lot of minds going on circulating, just really being a vessel and taking things in. And then mirroring back to you things, conversating with you, sharing their perspectives, sharing whatever is going on with them. But they're able to have that ability to really sink in and drop in. And that comes from having a nervous system that's regulated. It comes from having a level of self-love that you're not needing, but you're wanting maybe engagement. You're wanting your inner emotional well to be filled as well, but you're not in the desperate mode of vampiric, I need this, I need that. You're able to sink into the present state, and that present state, it is a flow state. It is really just deeply spiritual. It is the truth of existence. And I obviously have a lot of guided meditations on here that you can check out if you want to cultivate more of your inner presence. That is just so overarching. The deepest desire of many of us is to feel seen and heard. And when somebody can give you a level of presence and they can really just look at you and just be with you without checking their phone, without distractions, it feels like you're the most beautiful person in the world. They make you feel beautiful. Number 2, curiosity. All the friends in this group were curious about each other. They get together fairly regularly and they wanted to get updates on all of each other's lives. They wanted all the updates between each other, and it was really beautiful to have people really attuned to each other, really curious about each other. Not like, I'm here to dump on you, I'm here to tell you everything I'm going through, but really, I want to hear what you're going through. I want to be available to you. What was the last update on this situation with this guy or this situation with this work? I think it's so beautiful to have people who are just deeply curious about each other's inner worlds, their fascinations, not just the drama or the tea, but truly who the other person is across from them. And they continue to examine that. And that's what many of us want in loving relationships and romantic partnership, is to remain curious about the other person and them to remain curious about us. We've all had those people in our lives that are pretty annoying because they put us in a box. They don't even want to hear updates on how we're doing. They're just like, oh, I can guess. Oh, I can assume. I can fill in the blanks. Same. It makes us feel really dismissed and small. So the opposite of that is those who want to continue to excavate the expandedness that they know is within us. Number 3, getting into a little bit more of the superficiality. In physicality, these women carried themselves like people who are confident. I think oftentimes when we don't feel confident, we don't really want to play into that, but you kind of have to act the way that you want to be perceived, right? They radiated beauty because they acted like beautiful women. They acted with that radiant quality of a beautiful woman. And sometimes in the United States, I think this is where the muddiness happens, is we have standards of beauty, particularly for women, for men, for non-binary people as well. And those who do feel that they're not within that standard then deem themselves as not beautiful. Some of it in Greece has to do with the fact that a lot of folks spend time in connection with people a lot more, have more elongated dinners, have more social connection from their family and from friendships. So they spend less time taking in all of the media marketing around beauty standards, etc. And so less high standards around wearing makeup and things like that relative to here in Los Angeles. Los Angeles is probably the extreme end compared to the absolute rest of the world. But yeah, when you see yourself as a beautiful person because you feel it and you carry yourself through the world with a level of confidence, the way that you show up is just beautiful. The way that you own a space just looks different than somebody who's like, oh, I'm not there yet. I'm not enough yet. And so how can you step more into that feeling of radiance? Even before you feel it, how can you just own that you are? Even if you forgot, that's just amnesia. Remind yourself that you are. And whatever practices support you in doing that, whether it's affirmation, surrounding yourself with people that love, see you, and affirm that you are, tuning out of social media, tuning out of all the advertising that tells us that the beauty standard is somewhere that's not us. And then also having deep compassion was something that I think is so beautiful. Those who I see as really beautiful. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you're so tender, because sometimes I can be a little... That's the Scorpio moon side of me. But the level of compassion that you have within you, compassion meaning a level of deep empathy for other people and deep love for other people, but not that sense of sympathy. A deep compassion of, I can understand where you're coming from and I love myself, and being able to see others with a lens of love, being able to see the world with a lens of love, being able to see that love in absolutely everything and everyone. And it doesn't mean that you accept people and everyone into your life, but it means that you can at least see the space of love within them. I find it deeply important for us to focus on our inner beauty and cultivating more of a sense of beauty, because you age, your face changes, your body changes. You are going to go through so many physical changes emotional changes, it's powerful to come back to a feeling of beauty. When I think about Shakti, feminine energy, it is beauty for everything, right? The beauty of the spaces around us, creating beauty in our life. It's not just in the physical standards. There's a room for creativity in the way that we show up within our own beauty. If I could make the women of Los Angeles feel their radiant beauty, I would definitely remove their ability to tune into what the masses are doing, mass marketing, etc., and really actually focus on what they love about themselves internally first, and then enhance the beauty externally. I know I was on the side of being a little bit more rebellious with my physical appearance. I definitely was a little bit more of that feminist. I was like, F the man, I don't want to wear makeup, I don't want to look nice. I'm not playing that game for anybody. And then I realized it was just coming from this place of rejecting the male gaze, but what you reject, you're actually giving power to. The level of peacefulness that you can cultivate within yourself allows you to not do things as a acceptance of something or a rejection of something. You're not trying to grasp at something. You're also not trying to push it away when it comes to beauty standards, etc. But you're in a level of neutrality, and you as yourself are moving through the world. You autonomously, you with a level of sovereignty, are choosing each day. How do I want to show up? How do I want to appear? What makes me personally feel beautiful? And then when I started doing that, when I personally started looking at myself in the mirror and being like, well, do you feel very beautiful when you put on a little makeup and a dress? Do you feel beautiful? And I was like, yeah, I kind of like that. So then I started doing it, and it wasn't coming from a place of, I reject the male gaze, something in that regard, but just what feels good to me. And then also, can I feel beautiful not doing that too? And the answer is yes. It's so powerful for you to remind yourself of the moments that you feel most beautiful in the world. What are those moments for you? When do you feel your most radiant self? For myself personally, it's always when I am purifying with water. So that's either getting out of the shower, refreshed, pure, or through the ocean, flex. Swimming in Greece was very purifying in the sea, and just, yeah, being able to take that in. And goodness, whew. But also purifying with the sun is a big one. There's so many different levels of ways that we can experience purification. Everybody has a different means that makes them feel their most radiant self. It might be engaging with something creative. That's a huge thing. If it's singing for you, dancing for you, writing, etc. When do you feel in that flow, beautiful state, taking in the divine energy, the beautiful divine energy? When do you feel that? How can you connect with that more in your every single day? This is Be Here Now by Ram Dass, a book that he came out with while he was alive. And I remember opening this one and you can see the illustrations inside. This one says, to do nothing, there is nowhere to go, and there is nothing to do. This connects to the page I was trying to find. I flipped through this like 25 times looking for the part. There's a portion around the reason that there's a obsession with beauty that's not spoken to enough is because we're trying to escape death. The more that we focus on beauty, physical appearance as our beauty, fertility, youth, it's more as a root of escapism from the truth that we're all going to die, and that we're in this lifetime ideally working to prepare for our death rather than clinging to the material world, right? Clinging to money, clinging to our attachments around our physical appearance, etc. The more empowered way to move through the world, peaceful way to start to embrace the truth of life is to acknowledge death, acknowledge aging, acknowledge reality of our mortality. And so that's a big finale for this conversation on, which I hope you've enjoyed, on how to feel your most beautiful, to focus a little bit more on the fact that this life is a temporary experience, and it's such a privilege that we get to be here, that we get to share space with other human beings, that we get to know ourselves, that we get to take deep breaths, that we get to enjoy all the subtle little moments of joy. How can we anchor in that more every single day? And then, yes, sure, fix the hair, whatever. These things are superficial in the scheme of things. How can you tune more into your heart, into what you're going to miss about living, your loved ones, your curiosities, the things that light you up? How can you spend more time in this lifetime tuned into what truly matters? And then, yeah, if you polish the exterior, people will notice. But the right attention definitely comes from those who see into you. I'm feeling still a lot of congestion. I think adjusting to the time zones is really thrown me off, but I appreciate you being here. I missed you. If you enjoyed this as a podcast and you're listening on audio, a review is super appreciated. If you're watching on YouTube, please give a like and subscribe for more. I'm sending you so much love in these days ahead, so much more feeling of your inner radiance. You're born completely whole, completely beautiful, completely lovable, and I hope that you know that. Appreciate you. Much love.